Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am back with Michele Reynolds. How are you, Michele?
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
Oh, and I didn't say it, but of course I'm your host, Cassie Parks. I'm so excited to be here with Michele today. Tell us what's awesome.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. I have a new journal and I'm keeping track of all of the things coming to me, and I had to flip multiple pages at this point. It's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. I love it. So let's talk about money. What is your new manifested total?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have to look at the number. It's $155,560.67.
Woohoo! That's awesome, right?
Yes.
And how much of that is actually since January?
41,560.67.
Which is amazing. So we're actually recording this interview March 27th. So that is in less than 3 months, $41,000. It's well over $10,000 a month, which is awesome. How does that feel?
Feels, it feels normal. It feels like it's supposed to be that way. And that was the goal all along, was to get to that number. Mm-hmm. And now that we're here, I'm like, oh, well, I actually think we need to bump that up a little bit.
Right?
Right? Because I'm like, there's just things that I want to do with it.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So you talked a little bit before the interview. We talked about money is easier. Mm-hmm. And so talk about that.
Well, I'm the patient that, we'll use that word specifically, that needed a lot of surgery. So I needed to be rewired a little bit. And I fought Cassie. I wouldn't say I was a good coaching client because we can laugh about that a little bit, but just getting my budget took us months, and I just didn't do it. I was avoiding at all cost. And when I did do it, it wasn't right, or I'd wait till the last minute to do it. And what I did was I invested in some coaching, and the coaching finished. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with homework. Right. And then I went right back to my old habit. And then somewhere in this last month or so, I was like, you actually learned some new skills, go implement them. And so I got the sheet back out and I said, okay, let's do this without her. Let's see if you can do it, first of all. And put my numbers down. And this morning when we called, I was able to tell you, new total. And I had, done what I was supposed to do as far as I knew the budget numbers, mm-hmm. and what had improved and what was an opportunity. And it would have taken me all day to get those numbers before, and I did it in a matter of minutes today. Yeah. So it felt so good.
Yay. Yeah. And talk about, there's so many things I want to talk about, but how does that impact your view and your your feelings at every moment about money, right?
Right.
Like,
I would say it makes me feel safe, mm-hmm. because I know where I'm at, where before I would wing it and just spend it if it felt good. Mm-hmm. And then I would pay the price if it didn't actually measure up to really feeling good, because mm-hmm. then it would feel bad. Yeah. And it was like this wobble that I did. And it was almost like I was lying to myself. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say those words. So let me think about how to say it.
They're in the past. You can say it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't being an adult.
Yeah.
Really. I didn't know where my money was, and I'm a business owner. I should always know where my money is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting emails that are like, congratulations, you've paid. Congratulations, you're paid off. Your credit score has gone up. Like, I'm getting all this love as far as financial love. And the other day I had an opportunity where someone wanted to loan me some money at no interest rate, and just had a repayment plan. And I looked at my numbers and I said, well, what would I do with it? And I got out pen and paper, and which what you taught me, and I wrote down where exactly the money was going.
Mm-hmm.
So the money was deposited yesterday. And so today I'm actually doing what I wrote down. So that's going to feel so good knowing that I follow, or I honor my word with money.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're, paying something off and creating more and more money, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what it did is next month. So I was just looking at the numbers. It's $310 less
Awesome.
going out next month that was going out this month. So I reduced my overall outgoing by $310, which is awesome. $310. People would love to have $310 every month.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so I want to come back to this, did some coaching, kind of went back to your old ways and come back to that, because I think the thing about this stuff it gets in your brain. It just sometimes takes a little while because and we're going to talk a little bit about this in a second, but it's the decision to use it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was sort of like, I did all of this work, and it was a lot of work. Right. And so I want to kind of come back to this question, but I asked this in the middle. Why do you think it was so much work? Do you think it was you were that disconnected? Do you think, looking back and seeing how long it took us to get those actual numbers, what do you think that was?
I think it was just fear. I knew that I was living a little bit outside my means,
mm-hmm.
and I was borrowing from some money that I had, and I was just scared that I was overspending, and I was.
Mm-hmm.
And what it allowed me to do was stop it. And now when I go to the store, I buy less for sure, no question. We eat at home more than not. And I've actually said no to a few trips that I really, really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I resold my tickets, and it just felt good to know that I was in control of what's happening versus reacting. So I think you knew I was probably going to go back to my old thing.
Yeah.
Because it has to be, well, just like anyone that's coaching, it has to be their decision to
mm-hmm.
implement. And I didn't, in order to get the life I want, I knew I had to change. But in the past, and it was that way for how many years,
mm-hmm.
I didn't ever change it. But this time I was like, you just invested, some money that wasn't, just sitting on your desk. It was actually money that was really important to me, that I was like, okay, that was silly to waste that money. Go implement what you learned. And I think that's when real growth happens, is when you decide to implement what you learned, because it's made me my future self more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to keep leaning into it, where it's going to be more and more positive, and, more and more money, and again, I don't know, this is just something that, when you're trusted with a little, you're going to be trusted with a lot. So I'm super excited to be trusted with a lot, because I know myself, I can trust myself with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's so true, because you're trusted, it can come in, you're trusted, you have the time,
Yeah.
you're trusted, you can handle it. Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because if I say, okay, universe, I can, handle 41,560 and 67 cents in 3 months. How about giving that to me in 1 month? Guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because, I'm I'm being a good steward of my money. Right. And I'm doing, doing what I need to do and showing up how I need to show up. And that's what you get paid for, is the value you bring.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so like, that's all awesome. I think it's important to, like, you've increased just your, like, what you get every month, sort of, it's a passive income, right?
Mhm.
The other, you get paid out a lot different ways from your business, from your Wakaya business, but that's increased $200 a month, which
Yep.
we talked about is 11% um, in 3 months, which is amazing. You've
Yeah.
already brought in 16,000 additional dollars into your VA business
Yep.
because you
Well,
can go ahead.
like as an HR manager, my former life was, 2 to 5% pay increase was normal. And I
Right.
just gave myself 11% increase. I was like, it's my favorite number. And I gave it to myself.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Yes.
And all because you've made the decision to go all into being good with money, right?
Yep.
And so I love this story because I think it can show people you can do the work and you can get the coaching and you can slide back a little. I wouldn't say you slid all the way back,
No,
right?
not all the way.
But then you can make that it's never too late to make a decision like, no, I know that stuff. It's in there. Like, brain, pull it to the front. We're going to do this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. And I wouldn't say it wasn't even a month, that
Yeah.
time, but I was like, okay, I kind of like just all of a sudden was like, I really do know how to do this,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it.
which was the goal of coaching.
Right. Yeah. And so it always happens as we allow it, right? And we just, we have to, which is awesome. And I love it. It's so exciting to see all of this money coming to your life. We're talking about an 11% increase. So if we just look at 11% a quarter, like, all you have to do is keep doing exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the year, that's a $1,900 and $1,914 a month.
Which is a mortgage or a house payment.
Yeah. Which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Just for continuing to do, you don't have to go big and giant. And I think you have learned that, I think, through the money work, because your former story was survival, right? So it's always in the spin, which is really connected to adrenaline, right? Like, so survival story, like, oh my God, I have nothing, creates adrenaline. And then, oh my gosh, I'm going to hit things at 100 miles per hour, creates adrenaline, both sides, right? And in the middle is the crash, right?
Yep.
And so, but what you've learned by tracking your money is how to decrease that adrenaline rush on both sides, right? And I had a really cool question I just lost. I know what it is. I think it's made it easier in your business to be consistent because you're not chasing. You're not like, oh my gosh, freak out, I got to go 100 miles an hour and chase something in your business. You've become more, a steady uptick versus, oh my gosh, I'm going to run for a day and then I'm going to crash and then I'm going to, right? It's not a start and stop in your business, I would say. And you get to confirm this or not. Like, in the last 3 months, I would guess you have been a lot more consistent in your business.
In both businesses. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So, and in fact, this is a really, an interesting thing is, I'm super excited about this, but right now I'm the #1 recruiter internationally in the company. And there wasn't a big, like, run for it. It just happened. Like, people really came to me, and the month isn't over. I do have more people that are planning and, saying they're going to enroll and order products. And so you never know, and I'm cool whether I'm #1 or #5 or number whatever. The fact is, I'm doing me and I'm helping people and I'm getting paid for it. So I could really care less where I fall on that scoreboard, but it's kind of nice to be #1.
Absolutely. We should celebrate that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and what I loved is what you said, and I want you to talk a little bit more about it in your words. I kind of explained it, but I want to hear it from you. You didn't make a run for it, right? And how is that different from in the past?
Oh my goodness. So in network marketing, there's always promotions and incentives and things to go for and titles and ranks and designations. And I have always ran after those, for sure, like trying to hit every one of them. And it was almost a little desperation wrapped around it.
Mm-hmm.
And so almost begging.
Mm-hmm.
And now everyone who enrolled with me didn't even know there was a contest going on. Like, I didn't even mention it. And so when I did a Facebook Live earlier today and I said, and I got all this praise on my Facebook and social media, and I was like, I just want to say thank you to my customers. It felt really good versus the, whoa, look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was truly about serving versus needing the accolades myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty fun because now underneath all of that is I have this team of people that I didn't even know that are killing it. And I've taught them that, yes, it's great if you get the accolades, but let's not do it for that reason. And so it's like I get to mentor what I've just learned and, birth this whole team that runs under the mentality that we're here to serve.
Yeah.
Versus we're here to get all the accolades.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's a team that will make money consistently instead of, oh my gosh, we're the most amazing team 1 month and you don't hear from us for 6 months.
Exactly.
Right. Like it's not the hard,
which happens
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. And because I really want people to make money in their network marketing business. Like I don't want network marketers who just have titles. I want network marketers who have paychecks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how you're able to model that because you've leveled out. You're not in this like, I got to go get that anymore. Right. And I think we talked a little bit about this in coaching, but I think chasing those accolades was a little to make up for what you felt sort of that lack in money, not lack, but the I'm overspending, but I don't want to look at it like that fear. Like if I get a lot of accolades, I don't have to think about that. Right.
Right. Yeah. Cause I was filling the gap. Then the gap was the not being responsible with money with praise.
Yeah.
And now it's even better because there's, a smaller gap and still praise.
Yeah.
It's like the praise didn't go away. It's just, I'm not as needy for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it easier?
Oh my gosh. Everything is easier. Yeah. Everything. Like, really, I'm client work. I'm not working on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And in fact, I just had a client that I said, oh, I'll do something this weekend. And I didn't even look at it. And he was like, oh no, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. But I was like, it's okay. We can, get this done and put in some extra time here or there and get it done. But, there's not, I have very few, like, this is an emergency moment.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you say, knowing me for as long as you've known me, my whole past life, everything was an emergency.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And that ties in, I say this a lot, when you change your money story, everything changes, right? Because when you start to rewrite that and you start to say like, no, I'm powerful and I'm successful and I can do this instead of this high and low, it impacts everything else. And it has to, right? Everything else shifts because you're not chasing that adrenaline anymore.
Yep. And I think the other thing that shifted besides the money and the need for praise and that stuff is, I was just going to say, I really don't need anyone else's approval.
Yeah.
That has definitely shifted where I really could care less what anyone else thinks. And I'm controlling what's in my life and what's not in my life. So it's like I have say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but part of that starts with, it's the same thing of like, I'm only going to go to the store and buy 5 things. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to say, I'm only going to spend this money and that's going to happen, right? It's like, I don't have to say yes to everything. So it empowers you to say no to more things in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this has showed up too in parenting, Cassie. So I would say with my older children, I let them do kind of what they wanted.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I was in, like chaos mode, survival mode. And with my youngest daughter, there have been some little altercations and I just took care of them right now so that later in life, it doesn't bite her in the butt. And you should have seen, oh my gosh, we could have laughed a lot. But the hiss fit this girl through to get, for me to change, because she's seen me change, or not do anything, not follow through, not whatever with my other children. She's witnessed that a little bit. And, not a lot because she's so much younger, but a little bit. But I didn't change my mind. I said, this is what it is. And this is what I've decided. And everybody in my life showed up and backed me, everybody. And instead of her being mad, we're actually just having a good time. We found the joy in change, and we really are having great quality time. And we have got until May 26th to enjoy each other until anything goes back to the way it was. So
That's
was,
awesome.
yeah, but it helped her realize a couple things, is that, we don't need technology the way we use it, like most people do. And I did tell her that she could have her money, but that we needed to control it a little bit, because she was being haphazard. Like, there was dollar bills and tens and fives and change all over her bedroom floor. And I was like, we don't treat money like that. And so just, again, teaching her.
Yeah.
And when we go shopping, to be intentional, to choose what she wants versus just shopping. And so all of this that I'm learning has definitely trickled down to my daughter.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Which I think I'm more excited about anything.
Yeah.
And she has her own business, but being that she had some, like I said, some things happen. Her business is officially closed until May 25th. And so she gets to not make money during that time, but she will sure value it more when she reopens her store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, the lessons that you can teach her are priceless, right? Because she's not going to do this sort of chaos thing.
Right. It's like it feels like we stopped the pattern.
Yeah.
Like the pattern that I passed to my older children has officially stopped, and she will not live that out.
How does that feel?
It feels so good. That probably feels even better than the $155,000, because this is, I mean, she's young and she's got a whole life to deal with money, and she's never going to have to experience the high and the low of it. She's going to be even keel. Think how powerful she's going to be as a young adult with money. Oh my goodness. It's so good. It's so, like, I would say the word is just like, it's deep and meaningful and rich.
Absolutely. Well, I think we can play this out, but you've given her, it's not here yet, but the gift of millions of dollars, right? Because she will learn how to save and invest in shoes. And as she grows that money, I mean, if you don't waste 20 years from when you're 20 to 40 figuring this out, you are even 10 or 15, right? Like all of that money and I did it in my mid-20s when I started making more money, because I was a money hot mess. So it was all over the place. And once I had a lot more of it, I didn't pay attention. And so I think back to like what sort of slipped out the door that she won't have, and it's when she invested, it's millions of dollars,
It's millions of dollars. Yeah. And she's not, she's not reading the books, and she's not this and that, but she's even said to me sometimes, like we're in the store and she's like, is that more than 5 things? Or she'll be like, Mom, that's more than 5, or something like that. And she will say, what would Cassie say to that, Mom? Or, because she knows what the future life script is. She knows what it is. And she said, well, do you do that? And I'm like, stop it. But then I'm always grateful. Like it's only stop it for 1 second. And then I'm like, no, I don't. Thank you. So we're good for each other that way. And that we have the same language. Now she's 11. She has this language. I'm going to be 50 this year. I've saved her 40 years.
Right? 40 years of, learning
it's
that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Like to know, like, ask the question of your future self. Does she do this? Like, that is amazing.
Right. And she, in her journal, because when I was, I was cleaning out her room and I found a journal. I was reading all her stuff. I was mad that day. And she said, to my future self. And then she had written in there. And so she's got one journal that is to her future self. So she's writing to herself in the future. And I just am like, oh my gosh, it's just so she is so listening. And she's at school during the day when we do this, but she's watching me process and learn and move through, and she's getting it.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it? That's the most amazing thing. And this is the, point I really want to make here is I get asked a lot, like, how do you teach kids LOA? Like, you do the work.
Yeah.
You do the work. You teach them to have a good money mindset by doing it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just such good proof of that you don't have to sit down and go, you can XYZ and do this and do that, right? They pick up what you do, not what you say.
Right. And she's watched a couple friends that haven't done the work. And she's even said stuff to me like, wow, Mom, they need to do XYZ. And I'm like, well, that's their choice. And she's like, you're right, but it would help them, And I'm like, you're right. So it's like, I birthed the little money coach, like,
yeah,
your protege.
I love it. That's awesome. What's the best thing about like being this mom? Other than what she gets to experience, like, how does it feel? Or like, what's the best thing about being this mom and knowing you've broken that pattern?
Well, we're just happy. So truly, truly happy. I don't think I've ever, I have chills as I say it. I don't think I've ever been this happy in my life where, and I'm like, it just makes me just breathe a little bit. It makes me so happy to know that I'm okay. And that, if I can make 41,560 in less than 3 months, I have this assurance that I'm okay, which gives her an assurance she's okay. Mm-hmm. And when an 11-year-old girl feels okay and confident and good with money, she is going to change the world. And I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of her. And we never fight. There's no money. We don't fight about anything, Cassie, other than what she just did. But that was like one time in her life she's been in trouble. Like one time. Come now. She's a great child.
Yeah.
And like my old life was chaos and there's just no chaos anymore. Mm. So that's where when there's no chaos and you don't have a survival money story any longer, I really feel like I'm living my future life. Like I've done it. Like I've pushed through enough hard things that like I am future self mom now.
Yeah.
And now that I'm future self mom, I'm able to create everything we've scripted about.
Yes. Yay. That's
I'm like,
true.
whew.
I know. Oh, that's amazing.
And I know, this is what I know. I know that it's coming quickly. Mm-hmm. Where before it felt like, oh my gosh, that's so far off. That's so down the road. Things are showing up. I still have chills. I'm like, things are showing up every single day that I'm like, I asked for that 6 months ago and it showed up free. Or, I'll see the vehicles that I'm thinking about and not just once, but 2, 3, 4 times in a day. And I'm like, and I work from home. I don't leave my house very often. So when I do, I'm like, okay, there it was again. Oh, there's another one. Oh no. And it's like, I'm never in the same place. So they're not the same vehicle. And I don't know. I feel so powerful and yet not powerful in dictator-like, but powerful as in strong and confident and yeah, it's good. And I don't need anything else to fill me, if that makes sense. Like I feel full and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is where the speed comes, right?
Yeah.
And you practice. And that's part of getting here is not just the money work, it's the money work, but it's also you've been practicing your future self so that you could believe that, right? I mean, you've been like, it's getting in your brain and then it's that builds that momentum, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And not only have I been practicing, but I'm planning to practice. So I have dates on my calendar through January 2020 of things that my future self will do, including an amazing 50th birthday party. And I have an event planner that is going to take care of it for me.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yes. Super exciting because that is what I will do in the future.
That's amazing.
And I have another thing that came up.
Yeah.
So when I first started with the money coaching with you when I was like, oh, this is so painful. And it was painful. It was.
And I just want to clarify for people listening, the individual where we're really diving in, getting your budget for attraction. We're taking it to a deeper level.
And
Just
it wasn't painful because it was hard.
I've been coaching for a long time. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't painful because it was hard. It was painful because I was avoiding it.
Right. Right. Because it was, Yeah.
It's not hard. In fact, it's very easy. It's just, I didn't want to do it. And, but this is, where was I going with that? What I was going to say was, I totally lost that. Let me think.
When we started money coaching or before we started money coaching.
Oh yeah. I know what it was. I said to myself, well, my future self doesn't handle the money.
Oh, isn't that
I really had that belief that like I was so wealthy, I didn't need to know, or someone else did it. Like I paid someone to do it. And I now am like, no, my future self actually touches her money. She knows where it is. She invests. She knows, and she communicates clearly about money.
Yeah.
And that's so different than, well, I'm going to be so wealthy that I don't know, or I don't do it. Like, no, I'm in control of this. It's my money.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Why does she do it?
She does it because she can.
Yeah.
And why? Because she's going to be the best person to handle her own money.
Yes.
Right? Like she doesn't, and it's not that she, future self Michele is not untrusting of someone else to do her money, but they don't have the same history and the same blueprint, the new money blueprint with money that she does. So yeah, I trust myself more with my own money than I would let someone else handle my money. That's silly.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, because they don't have your money story. They don't know your future self. They don't know where you're going.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
So now that makes me look at investing and, stuff like that completely different too, because I would be like, okay, I'd need to interview who I would be working with to make sure that they believe what I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So there's such strength in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's powerful.
It is way, way powerful. It makes me, powerful. The powerful word, what's another word for powerful that would describe that feeling? It's more than able. And
I don't know that this is exactly it, but it's more like courageous, right? Because like I just can. Yeah. Like I can step into this. I
think that's more the word I'm looking for, courageous than powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Because powerful feels good, but powerful feels, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Courageous because I'm able to. I like that.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. So I have one question because I feel like someone listening needs to hear it. Was there room in the chaos? Like, could you have found this level of happiness in the chaos?
Never. I never did. And I tried, and I tried to fill it with so many things, and the things never filled it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good.
Oh, I love it.
I do.
I
know.
So good. And it is. This is how it feels like, because you're my friend as well, but it feels like this is where you were waiting for me to be. Like,
yes.
So it's like, okay, good. You've arrived. So it's like, okay, versus being in survival, like, are you really okay down there?
Yeah.
It feels like I found myself again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So good.
I love it. Any final thoughts or advice for anyone listening?
Oh my goodness. Advice would be, do the work even when it feels terribly hard. Yes. And when you feel like you don't have the money is when you should do it. And, I've had many other coaches in my life, but never has someone pulled me through to finding myself or taking care of my money, which are the things that I needed most. And so and Cassie is not paying me to say this. I would not work with any other coach because, for me, this is the real deal. And regardless of what other people think about anything, doesn't matter. You just fix your own story and do your own work, and really, you live with yourself at the end of the day. So make yourself super proud of yourself.
That's right. That's such good advice. You live with yourself at the end of the day, so make yourself super proud.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, tell people if they are interested in getting healthier, making more money, how can they connect with you?
Oh my gosh, I have a new website.
Yay.
So I know. And so I'm changing my name. So it is Michele Voris. That's V as in victory, ORIS.com, MichelleVoris.com. So, which is super exciting.
That is super exciting. Michele has one L, so you can connect with her there. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And make sure to check out Michele's next interview to find out what else is awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn more about enrolling in the Enchanted Circle, go to cassieparks.com.